So similar to decreasing by casting off more than one stitch, we have to consider where our carriage is. And let's use that theoretical pattern again. Thinking that or knowing that we need to decrease 2 stitches every row on each side. If we had that slope for a shoulder, we're only going to be able to do one side at a time. So we're going to translate that to 4 stitches on hold every other row. So if my carriage is on the left, I actually want to put stitches on the right on hold. To put them on hold, you push the needles all the way forward. You need to engage your hold button, which is right here. Push it from knit to hold. And you can move your carriage now from left to right, and anything that's been pushed forward won't knit. Now, there'll be a little hole between the knitted stitch and the stitch that's on hold. So to close that hole, take the yarn, wrap it over, around, and back over again, just like that. Now we've, thinking about 2 stitches every row, translated to 4 stitches every other row. I want to push the 4 stitches on the opposite side. Bring my carriage across and wrap. The reason why you're always looking to the opposite side of your carriage when doing the hold button is that you'll have floats that'll form if something stops the carriage's flow. So imagine, if I were to put these next 4 needles out in hold, there would be a big float that would form over them. And unless that's your intention, which it often is not, you want to be thinking about where it's going. So it's okay to you want to put your 4 needles on this side on hold when your carriage is over here. I'll wrap one more time, put 4 needles on hold, bring across. Now I want to talk about thinking about those 2 sides of the fabric when we're doing something like a neckline. At this point, I am going to push half of my fabric, half of my piece on hold. If you at this point, you will have a pattern written that tells you when to do this. Pay attention to where your counter is. We are at a random 889. We're going to come back to that when we were going to begin working on just the left-hand side at 889. When we finish this, we'll move the counter back to that number and do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to push this on hold. And now I'm just going to be working on one side of my fabric. I'll wrap. And maybe I'm putting 2 needles on hold. Bring my carriage across. Wrap. Put 2 needles on hold. Across. Wrap. Put 2 needles on hold, go across, and wrap. And, I've run out of stitches. My pattern is telling me I'm done. So I'm going to break my yarn, Just give it a little wrap so it stays in place. I'll often put my claw weight on the tail so it stays. I'm gonna just push all of this on hold. And now I wanna put back into the working position the needles that I need to now work and shape to make the other side of the neckline. And I'm going to bring my counter back to that number we were at, which was 889, I believe. This is random. So I can just carry my carriage across. I'm going to need to, to wrap this tail. Wrap here, put 2 needles on hold, go across, wrap, 2 needles on hold, across. Now I've completed my neckline, or this faux neckline. I'm gonna break that tail and wrap it around. Now you have a few choices. Often, you know, what's hanging here on the machine is essentially that shoulder slope and then a neckline slope. You could knit with waste yarn on your shoulders or cast off on your shoulders and cast off on your neckline. Sometimes it's nice to cast off by just knitting with waste yarn. Your stitches will be live and you can seam live stitches together, which we'll do in the following video.